Hi everybody, this is Oksana, and today I want to show you how to make these cabochons, or just how to do this effect in resin where it kind of looks like smoke or clouds. And you can do, a darker color. You don't have to do a background. I like to do a background on them. So this is in the sunshine. Mine are very sparkly. Yours don't need to be sparkly. I just really like making them sparkly. But here is in the shade, so you can kind of get a better look at them without them being so sparkly. So I'm just going to be showing you how to get this effect. If you want to see how I did it, just keep watching. So the first thing you want to do is mix up your resin. Sorry for the rocks. It's a super windy day. I like to work outside with resin for, so it's well ventilated, and I was afraid my little cup was going to tip over, so I have it between rocks here. But you want to mix up your resin according to your instructions. I'm using art resin, which is a 2-part resin. You mix equal parts together. But just follow your instructions. It doesn't really matter which resin you use. You don't have to use the same as me. The key to this is waiting for your resin to thicken up a little bit. So these are my molds. These are silicone ones that I got on Etsy. And then these, I just found somebody was selling their supplies and they were detaching. So I don't really know where this initially came from. But when you first mix up your resin, it's very, very liquidy. And obviously everyone's resin is a little different brands. So you just want to kind of remember how liquidy it is. And then as time goes on, after you pour this in, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pour it into my molds after I mixed it up and I let it sit there for a little bit. Sometimes I like to kind of mix it some more, let it sit, let all the bubbles rise. As you can see, there's bubbles in there. But I'm going to leave the bubbles this time because I think for this it's neat to have bubbles, but it's totally up to you. You can, of course, not have bubbles in yours. But you just want to pour it into your mold. And you want to, if you want to have a back color, sorry, I don't want it to drip, I'm just fixing it right here. If you want like a background color and you're going to pour another resin layer on top after this hardens, which you can do, then you can leave some room. But otherwise, you can pretty much fill it up all the way, because when we make the clouds or smoke, we're going to be adding such a tiny, tiny amount of resin that it's not going to make it overflow. So after you pour it into whatever molds you're doing, you want to let it sit and you want it to get really thick and viscous, like really goopy. So that it holds a peak for a little bit after you dip your toothpick in there. So right now, mine is super liquidy. See that? So you want it to be much thicker than that. And here's the thing with the clouds or smoke or whatever you want to call it. The more liquidy your resin is, the more they're going to disperse and spread out. So if you do it right away, at least with my resin I found, if I do it like right now, they're going to spread out so much that they're just going to completely blend themselves into the resin and they're going to be hard to see. But if I wait a bit and it becomes pretty thick, then they're going to spread out maybe a tiny bit and you get that fuzzy effect, but they're not going to spread out all the way through. And then if you want to wait until it's even thicker, and this is where some experimenting comes, because there's no good way to kind of show and explain, thickness of resin here on camera, but just play around, just make a bunch of different ones. And then, make some clouds, come back later, make some more, come back later. And then you can kind of see how they all turn out at different time points. So you can see what you like and how it works in your resin, how much they spread out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill these up. I'm going to set them aside. Here in the sunshine, it tends to thicken up a little quicker. So I'm just going to keep coming back and checking. There's no magic time limit. If it wasn't a sunny, warm day, it will probably take longer. So you don't want to go just by a specific amount of time. You want to actually look at it and check the resin. But I will come back and I will show you how I make the clouds after I, fill up my molds and let them sit here for a bit. And you want to leave yourself just a little resin on the bottom for the clouds. You really don't need a lot. Alright, so as you can see the little point staying for quite some time. It's becoming very thick. So now is when I want to go ahead and mix up my color to put in for the smoke. So I'm going to take a little bit of my resin that I had left. I'm going to put it in a separate container because I'm going to do different colors. If you're just doing one color, you can mix it all up in one container. It's totally up to you. And then I'm going to add any kind of pigments that you want for whatever color you want. This is from TKB Trading. It's a mica pigment. And then I'm also going to try something that I don't normally do, but there's this stuff called flocking, and it's like this fuzzy felt stuff, and it's like a powder. They sell it for nail art. I'm going to try adding a little bit of that because I wonder if the little hairs, for lack of a better word, that this is made from would look neat in a cloud. I'll do some with this and some without, just so we can see if it makes a difference or not. But I thought I would just experiment with this a little bit. Alright, so first I just added a little pigment, and I just have this little dollop of resin in here. And first I'm going to do without the flocking, and then I'll add the flocking. And we'll do this all in the same one so that we can kind of see if it ends up making a difference. So you put it in with your toothpick and you just kind of push it, and make sure you push it down as well, not just around the top on the surface, because that's what's going to give it that multi-dimensional kind of smoke effect. Alright, so I'm going to add a little bit of the flocking now, and then I'll do this again. Alright, and of course your clouds don't have to be dark. I'm just doing this because you can see a little better on camera the contrast of the darker colors. But if you do a lighter color, that'll work well. And you can do, I like to do like a background. So if I do a light background, then you'll really see, sorry, it's super windy. Everything's blowing over today. You can really see the contrast if you want to put something on the back. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to experiment with some different micas. I have a whole bunch from TKB Trading that this would be a white effect with some iridescent shimmer to it. And what I like to do for the white as well is I like to put just the tiniest little bit. I just dip my toothpick into some white acrylic paint, and that gives it kind of a more milky effect. And then I still add this and get the iridescent kind of sparkles in there. And that's how I do the white looking smoke or clouds. So I'm going to do it with just kind of different colors, and then I'll show you guys. So here is my mixed up white pigment with that sparkly stuff, the aqua sparks. And I am actually going to add that here as well and have this be kind of multicolor. It's getting a little goopy. Alright, so I will be back and show you guys how everything turns out. I'm going to do a few more, might experiment with some different colors, but I'll show you guys how they all turn out. And I'll show you what I do for the back as well after these harden up a little bit. Alright, so I did all different things, different pigments and a mix of stuff. I have some moss and dirt in some of them because that's a separate experiment that I'm doing. But one thing that I just want to show you real quick, I want to show it on this one. So I know it's hard to see, but this has some lighter colored clouds and they're kind of blending into the rest of the to like the background, so you can't see them, but you'll see them when it's done. So it's nice to have a dark background so the white clouds can really stand out. And so I have some alcohol ink that I got from Michael's, and so I just did a little drop here on the back. And usually if you leave it, it just kind of spreads out slowly until it covers the entire back of your piece. But maybe if your resin is already quite hard, it might not do that. You might want to use like a toothpick to help. But that's one option for doing a background color. I'm going to leave mine. I think mine, I can see that it's kind of slowly spreading out, so I think it'll work. Or you can wait until your resin hardens completely and just pour on another top layer of like a pigment mixed with resin. Or you can wait until your resin is tacky to the touch, like it's hardened but it's not quite 100%, and so if you touch it, it doesn't like stick to your finger and like goops of it don't come off, but it just feels sticky. And then you can rub some mica pigment on the back and it'll kind of stick to it as it completely hardens. It'll have a layer of that mica on the back for color. So those are some options that you can do for the background color. So I'm going to go ahead and let these set completely, and then I will show you guys how they turned out. I did some more of the lighter clouds here. You can kind of see them better in here because this is a more clear mold, and the other one they like just blend into the color of the mold, so you can kind of see them there. I just swirled a little bit of white acrylic paint mixed with resin and a little bit of shimmery mica in there. Alright, so here's the results. Here's that big one that I was demonstrating on. The back of it is this really cool mica that I like. It like changes from green to like a rosy pink. It's iridescent. It's really fun. And it is called Travel to Earth from TKB Trading. So what I did is just what I told you guys. I waited for this to be nearly dry, and it was just a little tacky on the back, and then I rubbed the mica on so it kind of stuck in there. So it just has kind of a thin layer of that mica on the back embedded into the resin. And that smoke or clouds, I guess in this case it would be smoke since it's a dark color, you can kind of see it's three-dimensional. I added some lighter with like the sparklies in there, and then the black that I was showing you guys as well. I don't think the flocking makes any difference. It was in this part here, so I wouldn't worry about that. Here's what it looks like, and then I can show you some of my others as well. So some of these were a little different. I mean, I was experimenting with different things here. I was putting in some moss to make like a little scenic background. So here, this actually came out really neat. These clouds or starry sky is just the same thing, just swirled clouds. It's actually this here. It's that blue sparkly mica that I showed you guys. So I had mixed that up, and I did a little bit too much here. I swirled a little bit too much, and I thought that it wouldn't look nice, like it wouldn't be defined lines and defined clouds like here. But it actually ended up kind of neat with a dark background. This is that dark mica that I showed you guys. I forget what it's called now, but it actually made the clouds that were very spread out look neat, like a starry sky. So that worked out better than I thought it would. And then this one, that was the one that I demonstrated on. Actually, wait, is this the one? Yes, it is. Sorry. I had done a drop of the alcohol ink on the back, and then I also ended up rubbing some mica on the back later on as well. But this has that dark blue alcohol ink in there, so you can see the clouds. And because the pigments I use are sparkly, you can really see the sparkles in like the thinner portions. But you don't have to use sparkly if you don't want that effect. And you can see, so I had mixed in a little bit of the white acrylic paint to give it kind of more of a milky look. And it's either a chunk of that or a chunk of glitter. You can see got stuck in there at the top. But Here's what that one looks like, and then one more. So I really like doing the background. I think it looks cool to do a lighter color on a dark background. So that's it. Really, the key things are just to wait till your resin is very goopy and thick before doing these clouds, and that is how you do this effect. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.